aren't you excited? Can't you wait to play yet another Ubisoft open world game with a strong female?
I saw this game, by the way. It's such slop. It's so janky. It is a game that would be made like in 2012. Like, I don't know why they're asking for like a triple A pricing. Like, and any deluxe versions are like above 100. This game just does not cost that. Like, from what I've seen so far, it is such slop.
Female character
And somehow IGN also like gave this game 1 point less than Black Myth Wukong, which is a crime.
that can single
Even
punch knock
compare.
out fully grown adult males with her bare hands? No? Yeah, me either. Outlaws is here, and it's not being received too warmly either by critics or fans alike, so let's talk about all kinds of nonsense. From glitches, bans, early access saves being erased, as well as how there's a very weird trend of bad releases coming from AAA studios lately, and finally at the end we'll talk about Dustborn. To start, it seems that if you bought early access for Outlaws, you may have had all of your progress erased from Insider Gaming. Star Wars Outlaws early access players are being asked to restart with new saves.
Why
I
though?
should state before going forward that these issues with Outlaws, apparently it only affects the PlayStation 5 version of the game. However, considering how large of an install base is on that system to begin with, this is still a really big deal, and it makes Ubisoft look even more incompetent. So like most games Ubisoft makes, they offer multiple tiers of the game from standard to gold and ultimate. Pretty much the higher the tier you go, the more digital goods you get, like season passes, pre-order DLCs, or skins to use.
Okay, season passes I understand. I'm guilty of that. When Borderlands comes out, I always get it with the season pass. Because I want any future DLCs to be already included. But like, a game that I have no idea about. Because like, all these Star Wars games, they're always like such slop. Everyone does a different iteration of it. And it's always such hit or miss.
Use in game. But players who paid more for the 3-day early access got a really bad surprise recently. Turns out once Ubisoft rolled out the newest patch prior to the actual launch of the game, which is version 1.000.002, it has now made all saves and playtime on PS5 versions of Outlaws prior to the install pretty much erasing your game and just making it unplayable.
What was the point of playing it 3 days early? Did they get anything else for the price tag? Let's check the shop itself. Let's see the pricing tiers. Where are the prices? No! $70 for just the base game? Okay, which one is like the early pass though? Oh, you can play it like $18 per month. That's cool too, I guess. $130 for a no, off. Eat my shit. This is so stupid. Also, why the is the season pass $40? $40? Unlock an additional Star Wars wildcard on Star Wars Outlaws and Pirates for narrative expansions, the Day 1 exclusive mission, Jabba Gamut, and the Castle. So you get like 2 DLCs, which are just quest lines technically, and one exclusive mission. Castle Runner Pack doesn't matter, but like, this does not cost $40. You need to off.
Ubisoft and
This is so
developer Massive
stupid.
Entertainment say this is happening because the update is not compatible with the previous version of the game. But you would think for a major release like this that they would release this patch prior to having early access become available to players who already paid for it. But of course not, because incompetence is Ubisoft's middle name, so naturally, anyone who put any time into Outlaws has now had their saves deleted and they have to start from scratch. Of course, you're likely wondering, well then what happens to those users that paid extra to play earlier then? Ubisoft will apparently reward them with some in-game points and some DLC items as a sorry, but if you ask me, this is sheer incompetence and is a terrible look for Ubisoft and
They
Massive.
should refund.
Because if
What
this
the fuck?
happens to what is arguably your most important release of the year, besides Assassin's Creed Shadows in November, you can't be doing things like this.
Oh.
Especially to early access players.
God, Assassin's Creed Shadow, that's gonna be out soon. It's already like covered in drama. Can't wait for that.
Who are arguably your most loyal consumer base. I mean, they paid over $100 for Star Wars Outlaws, for God's sakes. If they're willing to do that, then they are loyal. And to have their loyalty met with their save files getting erased, yeah, it's not a good look for Ubisoft and Massive right now. Of course, if you have any problems with the game and you want to voice your opinion, that is also
To be fair, it's not Ubisoft's fault per se. Because it's the studios, the gaming studio that made this. If they're incompetent enough that they make incompatible patches, that's on them. But Ubisoft, because they're the distributor, they need to kind of either refund or kind of, you know, make it up to the players. But like some DLC items, that's stupid. That's so stupid.
Also not being allowed either.
Who cares?
From Park Place, Star Wars Outlaws subreddit reportedly bans users for criticizing Ubisoft's game. So a user named Ugly Coyote reached out to Park Place and told them that the subreddits for Outlaws are being controlled with an iron fist before launch. And not only that, but they are silencing and banning anyone who tries to talk about the game in a critical light. This is what Ugly Coyote said, and I quote, "Reddit Star Wars Outlaws is banning and silencing people who are critics of the game during early access, also deleting posts. Found myself victim of this myself after I got reports from other people saying that they were banned. This looks like damage control before the game officially launches this week. I asked them with no reply, then I asked for the moderator name who banned me, and I was muted for 7 days. There were a lot of posts deleted on Star Wars Outlaws Reddit, and me and a friend replied to those posts also voicing criticism about graphics, performance, and so on. There were a lot of posts deleted on Star Wars Outlaws Reddit, and me and a friend replied to those posts also voicing criticism about graphics, performance, and so on. So my friend then posted about censoring posts and was banned for posting non-related topic comments for I think 3 days or so. In that deleted post, many said their friends got banned also. I got banned when I questioned the age of a user and his beliefs by stating that he blindly believes propaganda and described the critical parts of the game like performance, hardware needs, uglification of the main character, and so on. Also, I said he should be aware of false media hype like IGN." End quote. So Ugly Coyote also provided proof that they were indeed banned, as you can see on screen here, so they were telling the truth. But it's very obvious that Outlaws moderators across the board are running damage control like crazy prior to the release of the game. And actually, it reminds me a lot of Helldivers 2's mod team as well. Which, if you don't know, Helldivers 2's mod team was banning anyone who was right-leaning in how they thought or presented themselves. Essentially creating the Helldivers official Discord servers into left-leaning echo chambers only. And if you spoke out of line, even a little, a moderator would ban you instantly and with little reason. This is, like I said, now happening with Outlaws, and of course it should be said that the subreddit might not even be supervised or controlled by Ubisoft themselves or Massive, since anyone can make subreddits on anything, but it's very obvious that the people who are controlling the subreddit are still not allowing for reasonable criticism or talk about the game unless...
What is up with games just constantly doing this damage control? Why can't they just like focus on just making a good game? Because like you'd think people would learn by this, but like obviously the fact that they sell the game is like good enough as long as they make up for what they invested. But like I don't know, I feel like all this constant bad PR is just absolute dog water for like most companies. I know that it's like a lot of companies are specifically following the thought process of like any PR is good PR.
It's overwhelmingly positive. Which of course is ridiculous because this game is very obviously not getting a positive reaction. I mean, I can just show you a couple of clips of how Outlaws is running out of the gate for early access players, and it's not looking good. Here's one clip from Mongoloyer on Twitter.
What is going on? Like, I saw videos of this game being giga janky, but this is funny.
No kidding.
And here's your half. Told you it would pay off.
Wow. You actually delivered.
And here's another clip from Nick Tech showing the next-gen facial animations of Outlaws, and by next-gen, I mean nightmare-inducing. Here, take a look.
Yeah, he wouldn't, but he told me you could my speeder.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I've got every part you could want. I mean, mag fins, aftermarket sensors, booster coils.
Quality, yeah, it is.
How about a hydro repulsor?
What the?
Oh.
That is horrible. That is not next gen.
You just said every part I could want.
I mean,
these
I could slap
fucking
the
emotions.
repulsor on there
Am I
now,
right?
that's no problem, but without some good Durasteel struts, it'd shake loose in a day or two.
Another streamer named Grim Hollywood also showed, as they too played early access, that Ubisoft has made it impossible to actually fail the mini-games that are within the game. And in fact, all you need to do is blindly press one button until Outlaws just solves the puzzles for you. I'm not lying either. Take a look at this clip.
This is the worst mini game ever. Like, so you're supposed to match these up. It's like Wordle. You can just spam it. You can just spam it. Look, watch this. It does it for you. It does it for you. I'm not thinking. I'm just clicking. Watch this. Just does it for you. And there's no, don't run out. Look, you think that you run out? You think that you run out of tries? Nope. Nope. You're good to go. Look, I'm just clicking.
Oh, no.
I literally just clicked randomly. There's no way to fail that. It's an impossibility. They made it impossible to fail that. They want to hold your hand through the game so much. Holy hell. Like, let me get in there, man. Let me, you know what I mean? God damn it.
As if all of this wasn't bad enough, another YouTuber named Reforge Gaming showed a clip of Ubisoft's open world looking like a jumbled mess of errors, so let's take a look at that now too.
Okay.
That must be Miragana City.
What the?
What is going on?
Nix, get that back down.
I could keep going just showing you clips of how buggy and messy Outlaws is, but I think at this point you've become an expert on this by now. The game is clearly not finished, it's not running properly for most.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
The situation surrounding Outlaws, it's like a perfect cocktail of headaches. And it's
Stop
obvious
it.
that Ubisoft pushed this game across the finish line in its current state just to hit the release date to satisfy investors and try to recoup the cost of the game. But if you take everything that I've presented already, not to mention how about a week or two ago Ubisoft got exposed for massaging the wallets and brains of influencers with fully paid trips to Disneyland and tons of swag to take home with them, it's
People, I remember the story. They bribe people like, hey, can you say good things about our game and we'll reward you with a trip to Disneyland? You know what would be very stupid and funny? If someone took up that bait and some accident happened, but then Disney would be like, nah, you have a Disney Plus account. You can't sue.
very obvious that the positive buzz surrounding Outlaws is not genuine at all. It's more like fabricated
Disney.
excitement being ordered by some dictator who explicitly demands that everyone enjoy themselves and smile in their presence, and then if they don't, well, they get tossed in the gulag. A friend of the channel, whose name is Stuttering Craig, you know him from the Side Scrollers YouTube channel, he had some stuff to say about the game as well. He said via Twitter, I have an insider who works for high traffic game stores in one of the most populated places in the USA. They have 27 stores in that area, and there have been a total of 41 pre-orders for Star Wars Outlaws. 41. There is no hype for this game. I believe Craig. He doesn't seem to ever say anything without some source behind him. I mean, side-scrollers exist in the first place to allow people to speak on things candidly. And Craig has in the past had people on that don't even like him because he thinks it's important to allow both sides of any argument state what they really think on things. And I respect Craig for that a lot. So if he says that Outlaws is apparently not having many pre-orders,
Can we like agree that Star Wars games, they're cool. I like the universe, but like the best part about it is the lightsabers. The Jedi, the lightsabers. It's not the politics. It's not being a space pirate with a gun. You can be a space pirate with a lightsaber too. We've seen the cartoons. Was there at least like one Sith or Jedi in this game? Please tell me there was.
I do believe him. Craig also said that Assassin's Creed Shadows is also not having much luck either in the pre-order department, saying that the game has less than 800 physical
my
pre-order
God.
units secured over 900 different stores, which is not good at all, obviously. Of course, this growing sentiment of these games nobody asked for kind of falling out of the gate has caused game journalists to get very sour. PC Gamer recently had their article, "The eagerness to grave dance on unpopular games has become a bad habit." They state that games like Concord, which I've already reported on, have been getting unfairly ridiculed and clowned on by the general gaming crowd in PC Gamer's opinion. They say at one point in their article, if you release an unpopular game, everyone is suddenly morally justified to shame and embarrass you. Whether it's because all big budget games are bad or live service games are bad or you did too much woke, pick one. I think this article and what it's trying to argue against, it perfectly aligns with the reception to not only Concord, but Outlaws and others as well. I do think that the Gamergate 2 situation has obviously grown over the months, and has now become what can only be considered a behemoth of its own making. And I don't say that in a bad way either, mind you. I think this is a good thing. Finally, the gaming community and all of its intricate smaller groups has aligned and assembled like Avengers against these ideologies. So many of these games have ugly characters in them, like Concord does. Or they deliberately go out of their way to make their female characters ugly on purpose, like Outlaws has as well. And in Outlaws' case, it makes even less sense, because the actual actor, Humberly Gonzalez, she is a good-looking woman.
Wait, what? This is who they base the character on? And they use that instead of her? Make no mistake, the girl on the poster is also cute. I have very diverse standards. But why? Why can't we just have an iconic looking character? They're supposed to be like part of the brand. The robot behind her is a bit more iconic than the main character. They could have at least made her like specifically like, like the actress, just so it kind of, reflects a bit better. Those next gen emotions and whatnot.
There is no reason to change her face at all. Not only that, but Kay Vest, the hero of Outlaws' body, was also nerfed too, when again, Humberly Gonzalez is a fit woman with natural curves of her own. It's objectively being done on purpose to appease to the modern audience that never shows up to support you. And I guarantee you, if and when Outlaws fails to impress Ubisoft's investors, we are likely never going to see this uglification of characters.
Like all these arguments, people are constantly... Okay, so we've had so many of these situations. Star Wars, Concord, Dustborn, and a lot of these people like immediately start defending their game on Twitter, which is understandable. It's a product of love and labor. It's sometimes you try to push your vision in a game and express it in some way. Okay, I kind of get that. I follow that. But, attacking and arguing with people that they are wrong for not playing this game, and that this game is specifically for a specific side of the community or specific, side of people, the woke or whatnot, specific, for the LGBTQ or whatever other, like, I don't know even how to call this, like specific visions that they're trying to push through these games, right? But like, the numbers do speak for themselves. If you think the game is doing well, and you're happy that this game was made for that specific type of people, why aren't those type of people playing your games? Why aren't all these people that you made this game for aren't playing Concord? Why aren't they playing Dustborn? At the end of the day, video games are specifically a storytelling medium. It's an entertainment. If it's a shit story, but because the story is focused more on something else other than the story, it's not gonna catch, even with allies or enemies or whatever, however you want to see this. But at the end of the day, this is not, like, video games are not a political medium. It's entertainment sector. There's a reason like there's less than 100 people playing Concord or Dustborn, like, at any given moment. Where are all these people you made the game for? I get it. You don't want, like, the people who you don't like playing your game, which is fine. But where are the people you made the game for? Why aren't they playing the game? So you can, like, all these people, like, all these devs, again, I understand. It's a passion project. You put love and energy into this. But at the end of the day, you gotta understand that you're just not doing your job as a storyteller or as a game developer if your game isn't even, like, being supported by the people you are defending and representing. I don't know. That's my at least thought on this whole debacle.
And pandering in the future. Especially in Ubisoft's case, they simply just can't afford these sorts of failures for much longer. They're already in the red, and they're hoping that
Oh my
Outlaws
God.
and Shadows pulls them out of the metaphor.
Wait, what? For Ubisoft, that is like the how are your stock prices that low? Oh my God, you're losing so many people a lot of money with this. What the Jesus Christ, this is horrible.
I don't really see it happening. The community is far too united in its cause, and nobody is believing the lies anymore. Every game website just reads more like propaganda than actual news, and ultimately nobody's going to listen or fall in line when they know that objectively this is all being done in bad faith to push narratives on people. Claiming that players are dancing on the graves of woke games is a dumb thing to say, because what it really means is that you're just angry that people have standards that they look up to. It also comes across as desperate, like when someone complains when someone they're into isn't interested in them. People don't need to cater to your needs like you're a child. People are allowed to have standards when it comes to what they want to consume or live by. The simple truth is,
you also need to understand that a lot of the development and a lot of the stuff it's not essentially, like, obviously it's on the developers. They made this pile of garbage, right? But a lot of the decisions, unfortunately, these days come also from the executive offices, like the people above. Because game development is really expensive. If you want to make a good game, you want to make it stable, you need people, you need to pay them, you need to pay rent, you need to pay bills, you need to pay licensing fees, you need to pay... It's like developing a game for for multiple years on end. Very few good games can be made in a few months. There have been instances that there were, but it's a very expensive business, and people always look for financing. But financing is secured by offering something in return. Like, for example, a good example is Alan Wake 2, right? Remedy Games. Remedy still have not made the money they spent on development. They're still paying off Epic, because Epic financed the development of Alan Wake. That's why it was exclusively released on their platform. And the contract was that Remedy will start making money once they pay off Epic. They have not yet paid off Epic. I love Alan Wake. I adore this series, and I love the Remedy games. But that's a bad deal to be in. And I understand why they made it. I genuinely do. They recently announced another endeavor similar to this. So they currently made another kind of deal with Annapurna, which is like a television and production company, right? To make Alan Wake on Control films, TV projects, etc., which is great. But it's also part of it is for financing Control 2. There you go. We are partnering with Annapurna to co-finance Control 2. So it's not Alan Wake 3, it's Control 2 that's coming out next. We hope you're as excited what this means. This is, I'm always glad for this. I'm happy for this. I want video games to be financed and be, be in development and not just stay in development hell. Like some games that just stay in development and swap hands like several times, like Final Fantasy 15 did, right? Like, I feel like this is not the portfolio we want for Alan Wake. Obviously, it's co-financing, which is understandable. It's a very much a different deal. But I am, I have a right to be skeptical and kind of be worried about this. So, obviously, a lot of these, because they offered control over the company, like they offer a percentage of the company, that means also return finances. Some execs get a say. And the execs, similar to what Arrowhead are doing. They're looking at spreadsheets, they're looking at data. They don't have time to play games or to, survey or ask people for actual opinions. Meanwhile, the exec are just going to look at the spreadsheets. Oh, people are talking about diversity. Diversity is good. Diversity, sell, numbers, Put that in the game. You have 2 years to make the game, Obviously, developers are also at fault, because, you think these people didn't know how much time they got to make a game? But it's a combined fault. But a lot of these specifically woke ideas, they come from above, because when you put so much time into a project, you clearly should have done research. You clearly had if you had 2 years to make a let's say this is the minimum, let's say this game was in development for 3-4 years, right? You had 3-4 years. You had time to do research. You had time to go on the internet and go on Twitter and hey guys, what do you like about Star Wars? Like, join some, like, Facebook groups, you know, where people talk about Star Wars. Like, yo, I like how the Jedi's fight in this. Yo, okay, I love the, you know, Han Solo movie. Not all of them, but I like these bits. You had time to do the research. You, like, 1 month of just playing some Star Wars games and doing the research and talking to people. That's all these companies need to do. Same with Arrowhead and Helldivers. All they need to do for 1 month, play your game. If they're gonna add more changes to the game, I want a live stream of them playing those changes, and I want them to play it specifically on high difficulty. Not medium, not easy, not 3, not 4, not 6, 7 and above. I want to see them play those changes. Otherwise, like, what is the point if the devs don't even play their game? Because we had that shit happen with Diablo already.
I look at Outlaws.
People, like, develop these games. Why can't they just look around and just, like, look, like, at the other building across the street, like, and see their building burning because they're doing something stupid, and just, like, thinking, maybe I shouldn't do that. But no, they just like close down the blinds. They just ignore everything.
Concord,
Holy
even
shit.
Dustborn 2, and I just see propaganda. I see complacency, and I see stuff that I've already seen.
It's not always
dozen times
propaganda.
before.
Sometimes people just
The
look at
PC
what's the
Gamer article
loudest.
claims that people don't like Concord because it's in a saturated market, which, yes, it is, objectively so. However, that's not all. I mean, just because you release something in a saturated market doesn't mean that it can't succeed. Marvel Rivals is also a hero shooter like Concord, but the difference there is that Rivals has attractive character models and a really...
Also, you need to understand that Rivals is also free. Concord, like, costs $40. Concord is gonna cost you $40.
cool art style. And while, yes, also Overwatch is pretty identity politically driven too, credit where credit is due. Because the art team over there is insanely talented and they know how to make compelling characters. The problem with Concord, and even Outlaws, I mean, Outlaws is an open world third-person shooter game. Exactly how many games with those mechanics exist already? Dozens at this point. But why do other open world experiences flourish, or hero shooters, but Outlaws and Concord can't? It's very simple. It's because Concord and Outlaws are deliberately nerfed and ugly on purpose. And nobody wants to buy a Concord character figurine, because why would you? There was one article floating around saying that Concord has lost $200 million for Sony already, but I couldn't...
Yeah, can we actually talk about Concord for a bit? What did they spend 8 years on? I get it, like, they did say it was like $120 million in investment, specifically into the studio itself to make the game. And it took 8 years to make. But why though? That's like literally 2 whole Marvel phases done already. Why though? 8 years, hold on. 8 years, that was like 2016. That was Captain America Civil War. Like, in that time, so many games came out. Like, Black Myth Wukong took 5 years and it's a phenomenal game. And yet this took 8 years for a hero shooter. A replayable game, level design for a replayable map. Can someone explain what took 8 years to make in this company? They should not have taken more than 2. From what, like, I've seen the game, it should not have taken more than 2.
couldn't personally verify if the article was true or not since I couldn't find the source of it myself. So I can't say for certain if that is indeed happening for Sony, but in Outlaws' case, you're giving players an objectively run-of-the-mill experience that has glitches and bugs galore, as I showed you already, that went out of its way to portray its hot female actor as some weird mongoloid flesh creature, and then you demanded money for this very obviously not polished AAA experience. Not to mention, like I said previously, that Massive and Ubisoft...
Before a game comes out, the devs need to play the game for a month. Not just like casually kind of play it at home while, you know, hanging out with the family. No. In the studio, everyone together, play the game, make notes, compare those notes.
Ubisoft's game ended up deleting saves on PS5, and the game has the typical AAA Ubisoft Metacritic scoring of the mid-70s like always. This game is run-of-the-mill typical Ubisoft stuff. Also, apparently, the game has tons of stealth, and there's many moments where you have to stealth, and if you get caught, you're then forced to restart. Even Paul Tassi, the Forbes writer who probably hates me for speaking out for...
What the f was that attack? Hold on.
Tons of stealth, and there's
Is
many
that the
moments where
melee?
you have to stealth,
Just
and if you
swinging
get
your
caught,
fist
you're
like a
then forced to
gorilla?
restart. Even Paul
Is
Tassi,
that
the
what the-
Forbes writer who probably hates me for speaking out for gamers, has said himself that he's not enjoying Outlaws and thinks many of its systems are bad, like the 4 stealth missions. When even your most stalwart defenders can't muster up the words to protect you, and their job is to be a writer for a website, like, what are we even doing here, guys, at this point? I would say if you still wanted to play Outlaws because it's Star Wars, remember that it is made by Ubisoft. And what I mean by this is that their games drop in price dramatically very quickly all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 50% off sale a month or two from now on this game already. And to be honest with you guys, Ubisoft could turn this game around and make it a banger like that is still on the table. All they really need to do is obviously patch the ever-living hell out of this game so the bugs and glitches don't occur. That's a very good start. And then they need to admit defeat and just fix Kay Vess's face and give her the actual actor's face instead. Like, are you so stubborn, Ubisoft, that you're willing to lose hundreds of millions of dollars just because you don't want to admit that the modern audience ugly female angle is not working out for you? Cause look at Stellar Blade, the first Descendant, even Wukong has attracted.
I saw someone write on Twitter, they saw someone play Overwatch 2, and they saw them play Mercy. And that person is like, wait, hold on, she's from a video game? I want people to understand, like, character design sells. It doesn't need to be a hot giga babe or sexy six-pack dude. People sometimes like chubby characters, but they need personality. Like, there's a reason people love, like, Roadhog in Overwatch. That big beast is so good. Pudge in Dota 2. That is the ugliest thing, but he has personality. He has, like, specifically the play style around him. Butcher in Diablo. People play him in Heroes of the Storm not just because he's Diablo, but like also because of his design. There's so many ugly characters that people will love. Like Godzilla as well. It's a big dinosaur that like absorbs radiation and shoots fire lasers or whatnot, and he bangs a huge moth butterfly creature. You think that's hot? Some people do, obviously. There is a market. But like, let's be honest, like what the are we talking about? Like, make a cool design. It's not just about them being attractive and hot. It's just there needs to be some personality. And like from what I've seen, this character, like the robot in the trench coat in the background of the poster of that game is way cooler than the main character.
Active women in it, and like 99% of that cast is monkeys and other animal freaks. People are just sick of these ugly character models. There's no future for this kind of narrative when it comes to entertainment anymore. If you want to make everything ugly to appease the modern audience, it's your right to do so, but if you want to stay in business, I would implore you that you make these changes quickly. Because to be honest with you guys, I would play out.
That is a good point. Sometimes people just make a studio just to burn it to the ground, just so they can sell their vision. Nothing wrong with that, if that's your goal. Like, okay, so there's two types of people who make content, right? People who make slop as soon as possible, and sometimes they do it wrong. This is like a big, like, especially in the guide making community, sometimes they just try to send out guides as soon as possible, and sometimes those guides are wrong. Like, for example, even with Black Myth Wukong, some people like, where can you get these materials from this chest and this chest? And people immediately on Twitter just like commenting, I went to this chest, you lied to me. If people care about what people think of them, and their standing and like longevity of what they're doing, they will put a lot more thought process, energy, and love into what they're doing. If they want to just make slop as soon as possible and just make like, you know, collect the views, and they don't care what people think, it's up to them, obviously. If they want to do it, go for it. But you're not gonna have a lasting business, because at the end of the day, your business relies on the consumer, and the consumer has emotions and thoughts and standards.
Outlaws if the game didn't run like hot garbage and Kay Vess actually looked like Humberly Gonzalez.
God, this whole segment looks like trash. Can we talk about this? Like, this whole segment looks like trash. This is like PlayStation 2 segment. I've seen PlayStation 2 like Starfighter games that look like this. Why did it look like that?
I'm not asking for much, Ubisoft. Just make the character look like the woman that she's based on. Stop making women ugly. Stop nerfing them. Let women be women. It's actually more misogynistic of your company to be making females look like they're wearing Halloween prosthetics than just allowing them to be.
Like, I don't generally care how a female character or a male character looks in the game. If they're hot, cool. If they're not hot, I'll probably find them attractive anyway, because again, I'm very diverse in my tastes. But the design just needs personality. And he does have across the ramblings, I don't agree that you need to specifically make every character fucking hot with the curves. But I do agree, like, if you're basing a character on someone, make it look like them. Why do the actors work so hard to, on their appearance, their shape, their acting? It's like, the acting they work on, they do it in the mirror. They work on their emotions in the mirror, everything. It's like, a lot of the shit happens in the mirror. They work a lot on their appearance. Believe it or not, a lot of actors specifically work very hard on their appearance and their acting, using their appearance. But if you're just gonna, like, take that and just kind of skim over it and just put something else above it, like, what the Why though? What was the point?
Be who they naturally are. Make women hot again, Ubisoft. Stop the nonsense and let Humberly Gonzalez look like herself in the game. You're diminishing her hard work because you want to make some woke freaks who aren't going to buy your games anyways happy. As Michael Jordan once said, stop it and get some help already. Finally, let's talk about Dustborn, because that's a game that exists, doesn't it?
I've only heard, like, echoes of this game, because I just kind of, like, I've been busy lately. But, like, I watched some reviews of this game a couple of days ago, just to see, like, what's the fuss about. Who the thought this was a good idea? Who in their right mind thought this was, like, the best idea and the best, like, way to spend money? Like, I get the government. Like, the government financed this shit. The European government have funded this with 150,000 euros or dollars, I don't remember, but like a huge sum of money. They funded this. But like, who thought that this particular vision of a game was a good idea? Who thought this would make money? Who thought this would be a good investment and, result in a return? This game is like, it's just one big idea that's just not thought through or fleshed out properly.
Park Place, Dustborn developer appears to confirm game features stolen assets.
Again, if your passion is to make a vision, create a passion project that represents your vision and send it out and then burn the studio because it's not making money, that's fine. Sure. If this studio specific idea was to release a game with the vision and then just burn all bridges there and never work in game dev again, sure, go for it. But like, why do none of these game devs care about longevity of their studio or their games? This game is just going to be kind of done. Nobody's going to be talking about this game in a month. Right now, everyone's talking about it because it's funny and popular to talk about how stupid it is. Hold on. Dustborn developer appears to confirm game features stolen assets?
Disparages men and threatens to push gay agenda in video games. Also, fun fact, as of the making of this video, the game has around 19 players on Steam right now. You're probably thinking, how can the devs survive on sales like this? Well, it turns out the game is not really a game meant for commercial consumption like any other game. It is actually propaganda. Grums pointed out that Dustborn can be found in the European Union's projects, and as you can see, it even...
Yeah, there you go. Euros. 150,000 euros. Donated to this.
Shows how long it took to make, which according to the documents, it started development in 2019 and ended in 2022. Weird that it only came
3 years and it came out in 2024. What the is happening in there?
out now, but alright. And you can also see the grant of $150,000 and even the action of the propaganda, which in this case is video games, obviously. So whether the game does well or not, it doesn't seem to really matter. It only exists to push narratives. Yes, we're at the point where games are being funded like activist commercials or billboards. Crazy, right? The devs behind Dustborn, which are called Red Thread Games, this isn't even their first flop or even their second. Here's 2 more of their previous games.
Wait, hold on. What the did I just look at?
The devs behind Dustborn, which are called Red Thread Games, this isn't even their first flop or even their second. Here's 2 more of...
What am I looking at here? Okay, I get some of these designs, but what is this? I get it, it's a female in really weird gimp mask, big hugs, rage. Like, some of these parts of these designs look cool, but like, as a whole, this person in the middle with like bear fur around them, I don't know. I like this one with the mouth here.
their previous games, and as you can see, for a developer that keeps making games that nobody plays,
Dream Ball chapters. I kind of remembered this game. I've seen some streamers play it, but I just kind of like it went into obscurity very quickly. I kind of just remember like just seeing this game. I remember like this dude breaking out of prison and going to the roof of the prison, and then I just kind of stopped watching because I kind of blinked out. It looked very boring to me.
they just keep on existing and getting
Is that the game where one of your abilities is cancelled? Yeah, and getting triggered. That's a whole game mechanic.
funded anyway. Because the dev studio
Drogon, 0. All-time peak 240. Are they like an indie studio? It seems like they're an indie studio.
was found a loophole in the system where they can just keep getting grants from taxpayer money and then just
Oh, that's true. Holy shit, taxpayer money paid for this for this game. Oh no.
using that to fund themselves to make their next DEI slop simulator without cause or concern. And that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because obviously, if they didn't have those grants, these devs would have been closed down years ago. What's extra funny is that the game has been shown to have mechanics where concepts like bullying or canceling people are made to be effective ways of getting what you want and
Bullying and canceling people to get what you want. If the government funds you, who cares if the game fails? I mean, at this point, it's the reputation of the studio. If this isn't their first flop, and this is like the game they decided to come out with now, I feel like, you know, some conclusions need to be made. That either you need to kind of look around, get some study, research, look at other games, like learn from them. But honestly, like what I remember, like the first game and what I'm looking at this game, I don't think they learned a lot. This just looks like I can only explain this like this is a team of like 4 or 5 people in someone's kitchen, just kind of making a game. Especially because like we found out that they have stolen assets in this fucking game too. Like I feel. Whatever. Maybe they saw like Hi-Fi Rush, and they thought, you know what? We need to make a game like that. You know, fight the man, but only the way we like it, because we can do it better.
No, I'm not kidding. The cancel one says, we've learned how to cancel someone. Cancel will allow us to isolate people from their friends and compatriots in battle. This could be a useful tool against enemies.
Oh my fucking god. See, you know, some impressionate kid is gonna play this game. They're gonna get in trouble, and some police officers are gonna, you know, approach them, and they're just gonna try to cancel one of them so the other one pulls a gun on them. They're gonna be like, you like children, and then looks at the other cop just waiting until they just kind of pull out the gun on them and save them. Hey, I canceled them. You should attack them.
Wow, that's a little on the nose, don't you think there, Dustborn, claiming it's a good...
Also, you know what's the funniest part? All of these like are characters with like superpower. She has a superpower. The girl with the glasses has a superpower. The other two have a superpower. The one white dude in their whole combat team, this dude, the one with the Spanish accent, or sometimes German apparently, he's the one white dude in the whole party does not have superpowers. He's the driver.
good thing to be
Diversity and exclusivity
from their support structures in order to get what you want is totally fine and not at all crazy behavior. And this other one says, we've learned how to normalize negative emotions. Normalize gives us the ability to make people think certain behaviors or feelings are normal, but I'm not sure it will do much for us in a fight. Another reads, we've learned to bully people. Bully gives us the power to force people to do something
Deadpool.
they may not want to do or to make them feel bad about themselves.
Make them feel bad about themselves. What, Jesus fucking Christ.
In fights, this could be highly effective on targeted enemies. I don't know if it's just me, but do these read like...
I feel like, you know what I think this is? You know how neural networks work with like AI engines? I feel like they just fed a bunch of like Twitter posts in there and wrote a script. I legit think that like Twitter needs to sue because their information was used to train AI. Because like I can't explain like how would you write this? How can you write this and actually be allowed to distribute this game?
Less like game mechanics and more like an informative video of some kind meant for younger people to play so that they can learn things. Because it seems like to me that that's what Dustborn is really meant for, and honestly, the way education is going, I could really see schools using video games as an effective way of teaching their students about concepts within a medium that they want to interact with. That to me anyways is what I think Dustborn's ultimate reason for existing is. It's likely going to be something given to students to play for free via their curriculums, I guess.
You know what's like the saddest part about this entire game? It looks cool. Some of the character designs are cool. Like most of them legit look cool. I like how some of these characters look. I like the world they're living in. It's very Borderlands inspired, you know? Aliens, monsters, like some cryptid we saw earlier, robots, you know? The world they have described and created here looks so cool. And they wasted this vision on fucking mechanics like bullying, normalizing, getting triggered, and canceling? Are you kidding me? You could have had such a good game made out of this. And they did this garbage. The cell shading art style is so also very nice to look at. Yeah, I like cell shading art style. I love Borderlands. That's one of like the parts that attracted me to Borderlands to begin with, like the cell shading style. But like they wasted it on this weird story and scenario. But they just chose this. Whatever.
Teach them about bullying and more, which could be a good idea. However, of course, like any good intention and
also, no, they don't even encourage video games in school. Using video games for education, sometimes, yeah. Simulators for training, yeah, I understand. But like specifically to teach them about woke or some other stuff, don't do that. Teach them about history, war maybe, like teach them math, that could be sick. But like any of this psychological, religion, anything, that should not be touched with a pole.
It never ends up that way. Dustborn has been rightfully criticized for painting white people as awful human beings, and treating their very diverse and woke cast as paragons of virtue that we must all strive to become like. A friend of the channel, Savvy, actually bought Dustborn for research purposes and played it on stream. By the way, she actually beat the game too. And to say that she lost her mind and almost ended up in a straitjacket would be a massive understatement. So here's a little bit of Savvy's stream.
Chat, should I play Dustborn? Hold on, how much is it? Hold on, how much is this game? For research purposes, I'll take it. Dustborn. It's $30 for this garbage? This garbage is $30? No. I might get it on discount, or if I ever get it for free on Epic's Games, maybe. I might legit just play the game just to write an essay about it. I'll think about it. I'm so tempted to play this game on stream. Again, for research purposes, I just want to see, is it that bad? I legit want to see, is the game legit that bad? And I want to like do a proper essay about this game, just to like, I want to delve into this. I want to figure this shit out. I want to get to the bottom of this, because this is just like, I don't know, maybe this is like a government laundering scheme. I don't understand.
I encourage you to watch her stream yourself if you'd like to, but let's say thank you to Savvy for suffering so that we didn't have to. She's a brave soldier on the front of the war. But here's but a taste of Savvy suffering through Dustborn. My condolences to your eyeballs and ears, by the way, but here, watch.
That's more like it.
They didn't. There's
Goddamn freaks do not belong here. Watch your tongue.
What is this game?
Stand aside.
What is this game? What is this actual game? She has
You
to
can't
manipulate
silence
people.
all of us. We have a right to speak. Hey,
Who's
I told
Fred?
you. She's
right
using
here.
her freak weapons to control us.
Can you even hear me?
The truth will come out, and we will regain our liberty.
Are you recording some? Wait.
Silence all of us. We have a right.
Yes, silent the dissent.
What did you do to me?
Your mind was infected with disinformation.
Your mind was infected with disinformation. What the f? But, like, this is wild what I'm seeing here. It's wild.
Just liar. She's messing with my mind again. She'll do the same to all of you if we don't stop her.
That's what she just tried. She just did that. She just did that. She actually did just try to do that and try to sow discord into a crowd.
What do you want?
She literally did just try.
Wait, hold on. Was the mechanic there to get triggered? Wait, hold on.
She just did that. She just did that. She actually did just try to do that and
Hey, what?
try to sow discord
Trigger.
into a
What do
crowd.
you want?
She literally did just try. She is.
Even when we were kids, no one liked you.
Even when we were kids, no one liked you. What the f is this game mechanic? I've played, like, there's a whole video game essay about playing as the villain in the darkness. But this is not being a villain, this is just being an asshole.
Teased you for a reason. You're the freak here. They'll see through this charade. They'll see who you really are, a sad and pathetic child who...
Lies. She's messing with our heads again. But we won't let her do that.
You know what's funny? This random NPC that you're trying to convince of something is the good guy by the look of it. This looks like this daughter of Nick Fury is the good guy compared to the main fucking character. Holy shit.
No.
How are you in the right if you tell somebody that they're worthless?
I'm also losing my mind here.
Can't you see how crazy this is? Fred's filling your heads with nonsense because she's sick from the...
The only sickness here is you and your freak friends. And Annie.
This game feels like it was made by someone with unresolved issues.
Hey!
Yeah. Some time ago, when I was still using Facebook, I would literally write stupid shit. This is like when I already became an adult, right? I would write stupid shit a child would, right? And I would write like, I have learned karate and I have invited my bullies to Mortal Kombat atop the highest mountain, but he keeps making excuses like he has a family and a job. Coward. It feels like people who actually think like this or thoughts like that made this game. This actually, I think you're right. People who made this game, who wrote this entire scenario, have a lot of like unresolved anger towards someone. I wouldn't be like surprised if some of these characters look like they're like ex-classmates from school.
Hey, what? What do you want?
Fred's your enemy.
What? No.
None of this is Annie's doing. It's Fred. All of it. She's lost it. She's been poisoning you with her paranoid delusions.
I mean, we all do dumb shit as kids, young adults, but like the older you get, you're supposed to be mature. That's true, yeah. And the shit you did as a kid, it becomes from like whatever you thought was the way then, it becomes funny when you're an adult. Once you get, you know, a perspective, once you start paying taxes, once you realize that someone disagreeing with you or calling you stinky in the playground is not as bad as someone contacting you and saying you have outstanding bills. But I feel like people have not grown up that made this game.
Do you really believe what she's been telling you? She wants to replace Annie, to take control of Liberty.
What?
She is the traitor. Annie's trying to keep you safe. All Fred wants is violence and discord.
That's what you're doing! That is misinformation! She wants the weirdos to leave, that's it!
She's the one who's been telling us Annie's the problem. It's Fred. She's been spreading discontent, poisoning
Jesus Christ.
delusions. Yeah, you're right.
Y'all going after the barefoot girl!
It was always Fred.
That's not true. Come on, Annie's been...
Fred, just shut up.
And as you can see, Savvy
up,
was
Fred.
rightfully
Just shut
losing
up.
her mind while playing this game, and before you ask, hey, will you play this? Sorry, but no. I still have Black Myth Wukong to get through, Visions of Mana is coming in the mail already, and Space Marine 2 is out soon as well. I don't really want to waste what precious little free time I have already listening to a bunch of woke devs just finger-popping their bungholes thinking that they're making the next big industry-changing game or something. Dustborn is a game where you play professional victims who believe they are being oppressed by oppressing people themselves into thinking that they're actually the oppressors.
Holy shit, I have not heard the term professional victim in so long. I think it's actually it.
And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if games like these are integrated into curriculums going forward. Hell, it would not surprise me if game design courses use Dustborn as examples of what young developers should be striving towards when they eventually make their own games. And if you make games like Dustborn, you will go bankrupt. Or I guess you could use your government's grants and waste taxpayer money, creating slop like this for nobody to play? Except content creators so that we can all laugh about it, but this is where the industry is right now, which is rightfully so on flames. These DEI slopfests are failing big time, and placing them up against Wukong or whatever else is just an even more stark reminder of how good gaming could be versus what the industry seems to want it to be. I really hope executives at game publishers are watching these games failing and learning from their mistakes. Because I don't think spending hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in time to make something that can't break 1,000 players on Steam like Concord is a good use of your money, but what do I know?
I think it's like not fucking good use of anyone's money and time. That poor streamer, you can tell it was driving her insane. Oh yeah. You know, like, I know a dude, okay? I literally know two dudes who are like the opposite of each other in this particular situation. Because, okay? Let me tell you about the two dudes I know, okay? Oh my god, this is actually like the perfect story. I know two dudes with face tattoos, right? I used to work in a restaurant when I was younger, okay? I used to work in a Mexican place, and there was like a very Italian fancy place next to us, right? And one of the waiters there had like tattoos all over their face. Like half of their face had tattoos, like, you know, shaved eyebrows, and there was like their name or something. Like, really, I don't know. Like, I don't want to like yammer on about someone's tattoos. Like, if they're happy with their tattoos, that's fine. But like, if you are doing a tattoo then this early in your career path as a person on your face, you gotta be happy with minimum wage. There's no way about that if you're making choices like that. And I did, like, because our restaurants are next to each other, we have like a shared smoking area, right? And like, I legit like came up, like when we were smoking, he came up, he asked for a cigarette, like, and I asked him like, dude, why did you make this decision? Are you like, don't you like worry about your career prospects or something? And he's like, hey, it's my body. I should be able to do with it however I want. I'm sure I will figure something out in my life and in my future. That was their response. And I didn't push them because, you know, people with face tattoos look dangerous to me and I'm scared. But there was another person that I legit worked with. He was a waiter at the restaurant I worked at. I was a bartender. They were a waiter, and they were fine. They were clean. They legitimately were like the cleanest person ever. They did not smoke. They did not drink. They can taste alcohol, right? But they were very clean. But they got their breakthrough. I remember they got a contract, like a really, really good contract to develop software, and it's job from home. They were invested in, like, he had his own like little team of people that they, outside of like the restaurant job, they were just working on software. And I think he was in like cybersecurity, something like that. They were developing software for cybersecurity, something really cool, right? When he left, he was like, sorry, like, guys, I this is like my calling, this is my passion. Like, and nobody thought any less of it when he left the job. 2 months later, he has a Jeep. He drives up to the restaurant. He comes out. Half his body is tattooed. Like, he has a full sleeve, and his face is also tattooed. Like, I shit you not. And we're like, wait, what the you were like the cleanest out of all of us. And he's like, I'm still straight edge, because then he had like a little X on his face too. But like half of his face was tattooed, and he had a full sleeve of this stuff. And we're like, you good? And he's like, look, my time has come. I've grabbed this opportunity, and I'm doing really well. My future is like very established and very stable. I can finally kind of do things I wanted to do for a while. Because the man like was very straight edge and very clean for like the longest. He was like in his late 20s when I worked with him. He was like almost 30. So he like held all of that up like behind for like the longest time. And once he got this opportunity, and like good on him. But he made this opportunity work, and now he lets himself have like make these choices. So same with this. It's like you need to, you know, at least like in the gaming industry, you need to kind of establish yourself as a decent developer before you start pushing specific like visions and ideas. Again, I don't mind people pushing whatever the agenda, propaganda, woke ideas, whatever, however people want to label it. You do with your game whatever the you want to do, but you gotta make sure that you can actually pay people that work on this. You also need to make sure that people have a future after this and not just be, you know, frowned upon because they worked on this like pile of garbage because of the choices some people make. So this is like what my advice would be. Like, after the first 2 games, they should have made like a more quality game, do some research, play some other games, because it doesn't look like they made a lot of upgrades or leeway in like improving their own development tech or cycle. And then they release this and it flops majorly, and it flopped in a way that like a lot of people would have predicted it would flop, right? Like, if you show this to 10 people, I promise you, like, at least 7 minimum people will tell you this game will not fucking see the future. Like, 3 people might see, like, I kind of see it. Maybe 1 person's gonna be like, this is the best game of all time. But, like, most people would tell you, like, I would go back to the drawing board. These ideas need to be presented differently. That was an interesting video. It fucking unlocked a lot of fucking hidden memories, but, like, I think that was a good idea. That was a good, not good idea, but, like, I think that was a good video.